common buyer concern is what happens if my loan gets denied? So let's talk about why it happens and what you can do to avoid it. But first, I'm Rebecca, a mortgage loan officer that will tell you things that your lender probably won't. So follow to get the real deal on real estate. The first one typically happens because the loan wasn't actually pre-approved, and that usually happens because the loan officer isn't experienced, doesn't know guidelines, or frankly doesn't care to go through the process of fully documenting a file before giving the green light. The second issue happens when something changes with the buyer's information, things like employment or income, or there's new debt. Also, there can be property issues. So whether maybe the home doesn't appraise and the buyer doesn't want to make up the difference or can't make up the difference, or there's an issue with the inspection and the buyer doesn't want to take on costly repairs. Lastly, there's the understanding and interpretation of guidelines. And what I mean by that is that a lot of guidelines or rules around loans are very black and white. They either are or they aren't. But there are enough that have some subtleties that if perhaps an underwriter is interpreting the loan or the guidelines a certain way, that if a loan officer does not know their guidelines strongly enough and is able to properly document and argue the point that the loan is approvable based off those guidelines, the loan's going to get denied. All right, enough of that negativity. How do you avoid it? Get an underwritten pre-approval. Don't make changes to your employment, your income, or your debts without talking to your lender first. Work with a strong lender that will give you feedback on possible outcomes and issues with the property before going under contract. And work with an experienced lender that knows what they are doing. If you have questions or you want a loan process that you don't have to be stressed out about the entire time, you can find me right here, and I'd love to help.